if we're trying to avoid a situation, we're usually going to create that situation. We're going to attract it in. We attract in the things that we deeply care about and we deeply crave. We also attract in the things that we're deeply afraid of.
What if you could build a business in the modern world as big or as small as you want without having to compromise the things that were the most important to you in the very beginning? This is the Wealthy Consultant Talks podcast with Taylor Welch and Mike Walker, as they share with you today their learning lessons from stories in their experiences over the past 10 to 15 years and share with you right here, right now. Let's get into it.
What is going on, my friends? Mike Walker here. Excited to have you with us on another episode of the Wealthy Consultant Podcast. Today, I want to share with you a clip from a call that Taylor and I did. This is about a month or so ago, really talking about what we call cognitive diffusion. Cognitive diffusion. Now, what are we talking about? Well, we're going to get into all that and we'll jump right there. But what I want to share with you today very quickly, just to kind of tee you up to what you can extract from this session that we had, is the concept that your thoughts become things, right? This is a concept depending on where you're at in terms of your evolution as a person, as a human being, but also, of course, within the space of commerce and the marketplace and all the things that go along with the entrepreneurial experience. We have to understand that how we are processing the feedback loop that's happening, right? We think things, we say things, we do things, and then that does what? It causes a mirror effect. It bounces back data to us. The world responds based on our thoughts. It is a constant feedback loop. The world itself, my friends, is actually a mirror. And cognitive diffusion and understanding this concept is absolutely vital if you really want to make the separation between what you believe to be true and the thoughts that you are having and the reality that you are experiencing out in life, out in the marketplace. There is a disconnect there. And yes, my friends, you actually can control this disconnect. You can link these two things together between the thoughts and beliefs that you have in your mind and what you experience in real life. That is what we're going to dig into. Enjoy. This is a good one. Let's dive in.
So first step is to identify where something is coming from. Where's it coming from? Because not all of us are programmed this way. Some of us we experienced failure, or we experienced betrayal, or we experienced the rug being pulled out from underneath us, and somebody that we cared about died, or somebody that we thought was going to help us didn't. And so some of this programming will come through experiences as well. But the key for identifying these thoughts is to sit with them and to diffuse yourself from them. From that standpoint, what we go into next is we begin to recalibrate. What's calibrate mean? It means that you are aligning something for a specific purpose. So you're calibrating for it. You're optimizing for something. Far too many people have a calibration to avoid failure. And their entire orientation is around avoidance. Well, if your whole life is spent on avoidance, you're going to avoid all of the negative, but you're also going to avoid the positive. You're going to avoid both. There's no nuance inside of these programs. So you have to recalibrate towards a better outcome. There's a really interesting author. Most of what he says, I believe, is correct. And some of what he says is a little bit crazy. He says this, his name is Vadim. He says, to give something no place in your life does not mean to try and avoid it. It means to ignore it. The reason this is important is because if we're trying to avoid a situation, we're usually going to create that situation. We're going to attract it in. We attract in the things that we deeply care about and we deeply crave. We also attract in the things that we're deeply afraid of. And so rather than avoiding life's negativity, we just ignore life's negativity. How difficult is this to do? Well, you should try it. You should try it for a full 24 hours and you get back to us. Let us know. It is supremely difficult. It's probably one of the most difficult things you'll ever do. When you begin to pay attention to this and observe it, what you notice is that every third sentence coming out of your mouth is reinforcing something you don't like.
Yeah.
We don't even know how, a lot of people don't even know how to describe problems without cursing ourselves. It's crazy. You should try it. Go on a word fast for 24 hours and don't let anything come out of your mouth that doesn't amplify what you want. And you'll notice you have literally created your own prison with your words. And so we begin to ignore it and we create new addictions. Let's talk about addiction before we run out of time. How many of you would agree that addiction is trained societally and culturally as a bad thing? Talked about as a bad thing. Oh, this person's in addiction, or this person's in addiction therapy. But the neurobiology of the brain runs on addiction. There's no such thing as not being addicted to something. Everything is chemicals, and so there are things that unlock different chemicals. When you feel a certain way, you're feeling chemicals. When you feel embarrassed. Anybody ever felt embarrassed? What you're feeling when you feel embarrassed is you did have serotonin, and that serotonin was sucked back out, and it's not really, your brain's not releasing serotonin anymore. Has anybody ever felt like really just aggressive? Like one little thing can trip you off. Like this, everything is the straw that broke the camel's back. It's like you get into the line at Starbucks and some idiot in front of you can't make up their mind about their order. Oh. And you're just like, if it was legal, I'd kill this person.
Vengeance in Starbucks.
You're just like, you're now so aggressive. Just like remove this person from the gene pool because they're a damage to society. Like what you're feeling in this.
Feels like it's some experience there, Taylor.
I've been there. You've got so much norepinephrine in your bloodstream that you're feeling angry and aggressive. You were feeling chemicals. I was doing a YouTube episode on this a couple of weeks ago, and I said, the entire personality structure of a person is based on their brain releasing chemical cocktails at certain moments. And Jake, who's my partner on the content side, kind of looked at me like that was the weirdest thing. I was like, yeah, true. Like next time you really enjoy someone, just go up to them and say, man, I really love the chemical system of your brain, and see what they say. They're just gonna look at you like you're insane. But this is what we say when we're like, I really like that person. You like their chemicals. That's what you like. You like their chemicals. Because in memetics and in mirror neurons, when our brain sees someone else releasing chemicals, we can feel that, and our brain releases the same chemicals to match that person. So if someone comes up to you and you're like, I don't know what it is about them, but they look like they're about to fight. They just look like they're about to take me on. Brain goes, yep, it's true. Epinephrine, shoot it into the bloodstream. And then all of a sudden you've got adrenaline. Fight or flight kicks in. This is the brain matching chemicals. And so addiction is the way that the brain creates positive relationships and associations. So we're going to talk about this is the first 2 hours of the October event. Everything in your life that you don't like, every single thing, and I'll prove it to the people in the room, everything you do not like in your life is the result of bad associations. Your brain has associated things together that should not be. It shouldn't be associated. Everything in your life that you don't like is the result of bad associations. Every single thing. There is nothing in your life that you don't like that is not the result of a bad association. How can I be so confident in saying that? Well, because if it was a good association, you would like it. Because your chemicals will be firing at the right times, not the wrong times. And so we have to replace negative addiction with positive addiction. And what is it? The clinical, it's a binary flip. The clinical flip for whether something is addictive or not is your receptors will normalize to it. And so it normalizes. So if you got coffee, you're addicted to coffee. Your receptors become increasingly normalized to coffee. So you need more and more coffee to get the same thing that you got before. If you're chronically addicted to drama, it means you've become so normalized to drama that a small dose of drama doesn't do it anymore. Now it needs to be a big dose of drama. You need to be discovering the person who cheated, and then you're involved with them, and it's the news. And addiction is why CNN exists. People are addicted to bad news. Bad news makes people feel a little bit better about their own lives not being in order. Because if your business is not doing well, it's either a bad sign and you need to fix some things, or you can blame it on the Ukraine war. You can justify it. So bad news becomes a a justification mechanism for us tolerating things in our lives that we shouldn't tolerate. And you can't get authority over something that you're tolerating. Notice how the brain is a sneaky little thing. And so when we look at addiction and we look at our lives, as our life moving in the direction that we want it to move in, the key is answering this question: is most of my time and attention being spent on quick payoffs or slow payoffs? And this is a heuristic. This is just a heuristic. It's correlation, not causation. The best moments in your life are the result of long buildups, not fast buildups, long buildups. So here are some examples of positive addictions: physical exertion and exercise. It's a healthy addiction. Something you can tie your associations to, and it's going to work better for you. Waking up early, or at least waking up on time. And notice in this list, all of these things are invisible. They're not public domain. They're invisible. It's how you run your life, and no one else will see them for years. Reading, studying, enriching your mind with quality information. Spiritual alignment, wholeness, that feeling of being like you're living the right way spiritually. Time spent with relationships that are deeply meaningful for you. Creating great bodies of work and adding to the well-being of your market. Notice all of these things, they're positive addictions that will drive your life forward, but by the time someone notices that, you're already addicted to the process, not the outcome. We have bad associations. We're just going from quick fix to quick fix to quick fix to quick fix. We're trying to find something wrong. When we're addicted to quality in the process, what happens is we're now addicted to something no one can see. It's underneath the surface. No one knows what time I went to the gym today. No one can tell that I've done my morning routine. No one has given me an attaboy or positive affirmation on, I took my daughter on a date last night and spent quality time with her, and then we watched Elf because she thinks it's Christmas already because we had one day of 50-degree weather. Nobody knows that. They're invisible. And so, and we'll spend a lot more time in October about this, but you've got to ask yourself this question and be ruthlessly honest with yourself about it. Am I addicted to things that no one sees that are positive? Or am I chasing a quick fix? Am I chasing something that is just to get me out of a scenario right now? When you get really deep into this, is an interesting phenomena that happens. This is a quote by Roger Bannister. He says, "The man who can drive himself further once the effort gets painful is the man who will win. The one who can drive themselves further once the effort gets painful is the one who will win." The reason that this is such a powerful quote is because all the good outcomes in your life come at the tail end of a long process that was difficult that you learned to enjoy. Make sense?
Totally.
Guys, our hosts are staring at me like I've lost my marbles.
Oh man, I'm tracking. You're tracking.
Really don't like their chemicals right now. I don't like their chemicals.
Taking notes, bro.
All right. Do we have any questions from this? This is just this is like the first 30 seconds of my October teaching. Cherokee says, can we simply do this through meditation? Sitting with the vision and accepting it helps release the emotion. We can. Meditation is a powerful tool. As long as you're meditating on things that you really love and that are fruitful. If you begin to meditate on negativity and you begin to fixate on what you're afraid of, this is meditation on fear. So no, that's not good. You want to meditate on something that's actually productive.
All right, guys. Well, I hope you enjoyed that little clip. We've got a lot more where that came from. So if you like what you're listening to, obviously like, subscribe, share what you learn, not just share the channel, but I want to encourage you to actually share what you're learning, right? We want you to have actionable insights, things that you can immediately apply into your life and business from this channel, from these podcasts. And that, of course, my friends, is all about paying it forward. Sure, it's great if you win, but how about bringing some people up the mountain with you? Am I right? Excellent. Well, hey, look, if you like this episode, there's another episode that we did called the Permission to Succeed and the Battle of the Mind. Permission to Exceed and the Battle of the Mind. Taylor and I jammed on this a little while back. And so if you'd like to jump into that podcast, I've got another one here for you. So if you're watching video, you should see some links around here. Click on that. That'll get you access to this other episode that kind of dives even deeper on this topic that we joined in on today. All right. Take care. Talk soon. We'll see you on another episode of the Wealthy Consultant Podcast. See you guys.